When I think of college basketball, the first word that comes to mind for me is family. A group of guys trying to win the biggest tournament in sports needs to come together as one to succeed. Family is a word that at first you may not connect to sports, but as you look more into it, the two could not be more synonymous. One of the beautiful parts about sports is its ability to join people under one roof. When the ball is first tipped off, all of a sudden your differences go by the wayside. Your race, gender, religion, or place of origin does not matter anymore, well, as long as you're rooting for the same team, of course. But clashing with people over difference of team is good for the soul. Having an area of competition that is not defined by any sort of borders brings the world together. But despite the odd nature of sports to pit people against each other, I'd argue sports does the exact opposite. It creates unity, it inspires love, passion, and a level of connection between sports fans you can't find anywhere else. This week, we look into a sports phenomenon that perfectly represents the idea of family. It's time to look into the madness of March. I'm Harris Rubenstein, and welcome to the Box Score. In the spirit of college sports, we start our show today looking into its biggest debate, whether or not college athletes should be paid. Now, if players were to get just 10% of the TV revenue made during the tournament, they would make, get this, $79,185 per player, but instead, they get nothing. We've seen this argument in other parts of college sports as well, due to Ed O'Bannon's case against the NCAA or the multiple student athletes who have been punished for things as minuscule as signing autographs. The argument is this: with the amount of money colleges make off these athletes, shouldn't the players who are bringing in the money at the college get a piece of the profit? It's easy to argue yes. The opposite side, according to many players, is basically a modern-day form of slavery. The amount of work these student athletes have to put in to succeed in their sports is equivalent to a full-time job, yet the players see no money for their time. If a school offers a player more money to come to their school, the sanctions the NCAA can bring down on the school and the player can be catastrophic to their playing careers. We saw Reggie Bush just a couple years ago get his Heisman Trophy taken away after he's found guilty for this crime. The argument to me, however, is old. Personally, I don't think it's possible to have college athletes be given a salary for one sole reason. There is no solution anywhere that will make everyone happy. You want to give players a salary? Good luck. The amount of issues that spawn from that decision is astronomical. Who gets paid more? Do you get paid more based off the sport you play? What about across gender lines due to Title IX? Would an Alabama football player be paid more than a UConn women's basketball player? Why is that right? Should it only be based on how much the sport brings in for the school? What about the other players in other sports that put in just as much time into their craft? You will never ever find an answer that has sweeping positive effects, so that's the argument that needs to change. Players shouldn't be asking for salaries, but instead the ability to make money off their own likeness. The fact that big-time college players such as Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston, and Todd Gurley have gotten in trouble for trying to make money off their own names while still in college is completely ludicrous. Yes, I do understand this puts the lower-ranking players at a disadvantage, but that is the true nature of sports. We are attracted to the big-time players no matter their age. And if everyone can make money off their likeness, trust me, everyone will find a way to do so. The only place I side with colleges, however, is that many of these students also receive incredibly large scholarships to attend universities they might not previously be able to get into. The value of free education in today's society is incredible. Being able to attend a school like Duke or Stanford for free due to your athletic prowess is both an insane concept in theory and in practice, but it happens a lot. Either way, there needs to be a change. Many of these athletes are local heroes, and becoming a legend in college sports sometimes transcends those who even play pro sports. But it's time to bring college sports to the modern age. Signing an autograph of you playing a sport should not make you ineligible to play that sport. But speaking of playing the actual sport, it's time to delve into one of the best tournaments in sports. And to start us off, we welcome in Sean Stackhouse, who's going to highlight some of the biggest players in March Madness. So first things first, Sean, who is the best player in the tournament this year?
All right, thanks, Harris. My vote for the best player in the tournament, it's got to go to Oklahoma guard Buddy Hield. Hield's the front runner to be National Player of the Year and has been on pace to be the nation's second leading scorer. He's developed and is a grown killer and a three-point specialist. The Sooners are improving, and his shooting percentage has gone up from 35.9 to 47.3 in a single season. He's absolutely on fire. Heald is also a major competitor. You got to look at that. We've seen multiple times in games, and even in Sooner losses like to West Virginia in the semifinals of the Big 12, Heald scored 46 points in a triple overtime loss. And although it was almost able to make it to the championship off of that late buzzer beater shot, it's just an example of the type of intensity and competitiveness that Heald brings to the table. He's one of the players that you can't just say, okay, he's going to do this every night. He is unpredictable, and that's a good thing. He can go off at any time. It's not just the fact that he is one of the best scorers in the country. He can do it all over the court, Harris.
Great stuff, Sean. So who's the best player that got left out of the tournament this year?
I don't think this is a surprise to anybody. Ben Simmons, the small forward from LSU, he's a freshman. He's been looked at as one of the best players in college basketball, possibly of all time. If there was no one-and-done rule, he would have already been in the NBA and a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. Right now, he's third in the NCAA with over 19 points per game, 12 rebounds per game. He leads the SEC with that, but he can also pass the ball. He's fifth in assists per game in the NCAA. He's shooting the ball well. He's an incredible player, and I look forward to watching him at the NBA level, but it's disappointing that we couldn't have seen a stronger LSU team in the tournament. The SEC is difficult. You have teams like Texas A&M and Kentucky in there. It would have been nice to see LSU because Simmons is so explosive. Get this, Harris. For every 100 possessions, Ben Simmons is scoring 30 points. That's absolutely unbelievable. Simmons, an incredible player. He's going to be tough to guard at the next level, and it's disappointing we couldn't see how he fares in the tournament.
Yeah, I know people in Boston are certainly disappointed that he might not come to the Celtics, but there's a lot of talent in this tournament. Which player will surprise us the most?
Now, this is a player that's been on a lot of NBA draft teams' radars. Notre Dame point guard Demetrius Jackson. He's a very elite player, and he's got great instincts. People say, he's not the best scorer. He's averaging 15 points per game, 4.8 assists per game, but he does a lot more than just that. The Notre Dame team isn't typically this explosive team that every week you can expect to see go out and absolutely destroy their opponents, but they have proved that they're an elite team this season. Look at some of the games that Demetrius Jackson has had. He had 27 points against nationally ranked Louisville, 24 points against Duke, 26 points against Pitt, 19 against UNC. They won all of those games. When Demetrius Jackson shows up and is scoring, it's a hard time to beat Notre Dame. A lot of people are saying they only made it to the semifinals of the ACC, but they also beat Grayson Allen and Duke. So that's the thing that you got to look at. They've beaten these elite teams, as I mentioned, Pitt, Louisville, UNC. They have experience. And also Demetrius Jackson, he has been to the Elite Eight before. He almost beat Kentucky last season. So you got to watch out for Demetrius Jackson and the Irish.
Wonderful stuff. As always, Sean, thanks for joining us. But after the break, who will be moving on, who will be upset, and who will win? It's Bracketology time. Damon Turbin and John Noon have all the answers when we come back.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kinigsberg, host of EIV's The Dish. Tune in every Friday for your chance to see what kind of bow tie I pulled out of my closet today.
Maggie, did you print out the scripts yet?
No, that was your job.
Maggie, oh my god, I do it every week.
No,
I told you this is the one
but we
I
talked
didn't
about
want
this.
responsibility.
Okay. I need to pick my wedgie.
Oh my god, look, they got us slushies.
Ooh. clear.
Now get used to it. Come on, give me my mic. Mic me.
Okay, so.
Hi, I'm Christian Mudrick.
And I'm Maggie Morlap
And you're watching Real Reactions.
on the Emerson channel.
Welcome back to the Box Score. I'm joined by Damon Turbot and John Newton. Guys, it is time. Box Score, bracketology. Let's get right into it. First things first, I want to talk to you guys about looking at both of your brackets. Damon, we'll start with you. Kansas is your national champion. We'll start from the top and go from the bottom. Damon, tell me something about Kansas. Why do you have them as your national champion?
Kansas is at the top. For one, they're 30-4 right now. They've won 14 games in a row. They've beaten every tough team. They've been in close games, won those games. Just look at that, I believe, triple overtime game against Oklahoma. They beat the best teams in the country, the best games, the biggest games when they need to, on the biggest stage. It's hard to root against them. Perry Ellis, Wayne Selden, these guys do everything well except for kind of rebound, but I mean they can make up for that with all the talent that they have across the court. So I like Kansas. I think if it's going to be tough this year. A lot of parity in college basketball, but I'm going to go with Kansas.
John Newton, Kansas. Give me a reason why.
They departed from the round of 32 each of the last 2 years, but this team is built for a deep run. Perry Ellis, 52% of the field, but 16.7 points a game. 7 players are shooting over 40% from 3. 40% from the field is amazing to have 7 players, and the team is shooting 49.5%. Amazing shooting team, offense, defense, they've got it all.
Very nice, guys. So now kind of looking closer into your bracket. Damon, we'll go back to you. I noticed that while John has Texas A&M going against Oklahoma, you have Texas, the newly led Shaka Smart team, former VCU coach. Such a tough team. Why is Texas on your list?
Well,
and not
you're
Texas
taking
A&M?
the words out of my mouth. The first thing I look at is I look at Shaka Smart. He took over Texas. If anybody knows how to win in March, it's Shaka Smart. I know they didn't look too good against Baylor in the conference tournament. They lost by, I believe, 14 points. Didn't bode so well for me, but I think now he's going to gear his team up for March, the big serious run. He knew he was going to get in the tournament. They're a 6 seed. They've beaten teams like Oklahoma. I have them beating Oklahoma in my bracket. So they can win big games. They beat West Virginia twice. They beat Iowa State twice. They've beaten Baylor earlier in the season. So this team is good enough to win big games. They have Isaiah Taylor at their point guard. They have Cameron Ridley, who's a double-double guy. They have the pieces and they have the talent that it takes. They have the big names to get them over the top in the tournament. I think they're going to I don't think they're going to stumble against Oklahoma. I think they're going to move on.
Very nice. On the other side, though, you don't even have Texas playing off against Oklahoma, but you have Oklahoma all the way in your Final Four. What do you like so much about Oklahoma, John?
Oh, Buddy Hield's amazing. Sean Stackhouse just went on and on and on about him because he deserves that kind of respect, and he's that kind of quality player. He's the favorite for the Wooden Award right now. He's been the best player in the country this season, better than Ben Simmons has played. Isaiah Cousins, another notable name, doesn't get all the love he deserves because of Hield's success. 13 a game, assist to turnover ratio of over 2. That's phenomenal stuff. And if that's not enough for you, 7 players shooting over 47%. This team is not short-staffed at all.
Fun fact, though, going back to that Oklahoma matchup, last time Oklahoma played Texas, Texas beat Oklahoma by 13 points. Buddy Hield went off in that game, 33 points. But when it mattered most, 3 points in the last 7 minutes of the second half of the game. That's why I got Texas.
Juicy.
They did it once, they can do it again.
Juicy stuff. Both these guys are actually Duke fans. You know, obviously Damon get the little seniority. Maybe a Duke fan first. Who knows? But speaking of Duke, John, we'll go to you guys. Let you talk about your Blue Devils. You have them, unfortunately, losing to Oklahoma. But you think that Duke is going to be a big surprise in this tournament. Why?
They're the biggest wild card of the tournament because they can lose to anyone and they can beat anyone. They've defeated teams like North Carolina, but they've lost to teams like North Carolina. They've lost to teams like Pitt and beaten the Cardiac Pack 3 times, which is not something that Duke does very often. The ACC is stacked and loaded, and in a conference where everyone beats everyone, no one had more quality wins and bad losses than Duke Blue Devils. They're susceptible to the upset, but they can take down any team in the nation. Grayson Allen, the ACC's most improved player, nearing 22 points a game, 3.6 dimes a contest, and Brandon Ingram, guaranteed to be a lottery pick. 4 state championships in high school, 17 points per game, 7 rebounds a game. He's pretty good when it comes to basketball tournaments.
I love that Brandon Ingram guy. He looks like Giannis. He's so skinny, but he can just do all this stuff. Kind of Kevin Durant-esque.
Kevin Durant is the most
Slim
common
Reaper-esque.
comparison.
He is
I'm
a
getting,
Slim
Very Slim Reaper-esque.
That was his nickname in high school.
I love it. So, Damon, back to you. We talked about some of the bigger teams, Oklahoma, Texas, Duke, some of these big-time teams. Who are a couple of the small-time teams? I know that you like some of these small-time teams that we've seen in the tournament this year. Give me a couple.
Well, yeah, the issue is whenever I make a bracket, I always err on the safe side, and I always end up
don't we
losing,
all?
especially after last year. It was so bad. Well, I look at a team like Arkansas Little Rock. They're a 12 seed. But
I
you know
love
what? You guys laugh. But the thing is, they're 29-4. They played in the Sun Belt Conference, so they didn't have any games against top 25 teams. So they're kind of a mystery. Not a lot of people are going to have a lot of stuff on them. So they go in kind of sneaking under the radar. They have a great defense, the 4th best scoring defense in the entire nation. They keep the ball, they slow the ball down, they keep a slow pace, they don't turn the ball over. All those things will at least keep them in the game. And if they can stay in the game, it's March, you never know what can happen. That's why I like Arkansas.
So before we get into Michigan State, because obviously, you know, both of them are big parts of your brackets, we'll go up against a team that you have Michigan State facing in the Sweet 16, Seton Hall, out of the Big East. The Seton Hall Pirates, what's going on?
There's something about exciting teams from the Big East that get hot at the right time.
I love it.
That makes me want to pick a team like Seton Hall. And that's exactly what we got. Guys like Isaiah Whitehead. The guy is on fire. He had a phenomenal last 2 games of the tournament, 26 in the championship game. And what I really like about Seton Hall, they played tough games, close games that they're going to have to play in these upcoming weeks.
Right.
They just played back-to-back against Xavier and Villanova, won them both by within 5 points apiece. So they've been battle-tested. They're leaders. They're young. They're both sophomores, but they've proven that they can win big games and close games, and that's why I like Seton Hall to move on in the tournament.
I like it. Speaking of Michigan State, who Damon has facing off in the Sweet 16, you have Michigan State all the way in your championship game against Kansas. Obviously, Michigan State, you know, one of the more highly ranked teams. Kind of weird that they didn't get that 1 seed, but, you know, sitting at that 2 seed in that conference. What do you think they're going to do, Michigan State?
They've had 9 victories on the trot. They're in fantastic form, and I think they could breeze through teams like Utah and UVA. What happens when it gets down to the Final Four and maybe a UNC matchup, maybe Kentucky matchup, West Virginia, who knows? But they're going to get there. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're going to make the Final Four. They're going to go deep. They might even make it a tight one in the title game, whoever comes out of the opposite side. But, man, this team's exciting. Denzel Valentine, 19.5 points a contest, 45% from 3, and assist to turnover ratio of 2.9. These are outrageous numbers.
Hey, Tom Izzo making the Elite Eight is one of the easiest bets in sports, but that's some good stuff, guys. And when we come back, all of our panelists will take a trip down memory lane to talk about some of the best memories in recent tournament history. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kenigsberg, host of EIV's The Dish. Tune in every Friday for your chance to see what kind of bow tie I pulled out of my closet today.
Maggie, did you print out the script?
No, that was your job.
Maggie, oh my God, I do it every week.
No,
I told
but-
you this
but-
is the one
but we
week I
talked
didn't
about
want
this.
responsibility.
Okay, I need to pick my wedgie.
Oh my God, look, they got us slushies.
Brain freeze.
Oh my God, we're here.
He's queer.
Now get used to it. Come on, give me my mic. Mic me.
Okay, so,
Hi, I'm Christian Mudrick,
and I'm Maggie Morlap
and you're watching Real Reactions.
on the Emerson channel.
Welcome back to the box score, coming to you from the EIV control room. One of the best things about March Madness, not just the players or the teams, but it's the moments that make it truly magical. So myself and the rest of the correspondents are going to go through their favorite memories all time from the March Madness tournament. So to start with mine, I chose Michigan's Trey Burke against Kansas. One of the best shots that I've personally ever seen. He's just okay in the NBA, but this shot in college just, I dream about it. From 32 feet, as Marv Al would say, and ties the game. What a great call. What a great shot. But let's head into the studio to talk to our correspondents about their best memories. One of the fun things about our show this week, all of our correspondents are kind of, weird when it comes to their fans. We have two Duke fans in Damon and John Newton, and we have another fan, Sean Stackhouse, of Notre Dame basketball. So it's kind of like the Patriots taking on the Cowboys a little bit for college basketball. But boys, I just got finished talking about Trey Burke at Michigan. I remember that shot like it was yesterday. Incredible shot. But I want to know, what is your guys' best memory from March Madness? Damon, seniority, we'll start off with you. Best memory of all time.
Well, Harris, we got to go way, way, way back into the archives, all the way back to 2015 when Duke beat Wisconsin in the national championship game. Of course, you mentioned my soft spot. Well, here we go. I didn't think that anybody had a chance to beat Kentucky. Lo and behold, Wisconsin finds a way to beat Kentucky, match up with Duke. Duke still has to play Kaminsky. They still have to play Sam Decker. They had Tyus Jones, they had Jahlil Okafor, but a lot of people counted them out. They weren't a very deep team, kind of like this year. But last year, they did have the talent, and they were able to get over the top, win that national championship game. That's got to be my favorite memory.
That team was quite impressive to watch. They took down Wisconsin in pretty impressive fashion. John Newton, best memory. Hit it me.
Well, that's a pretty good one right there. But let me tell you, the 2013 Florida Gulf Coast Dunk City.
Dunk City.
Sherwood Brown started his career as a walk-on, but 15.5 points a game to lead that team to double-digit victories over 2-seed Georgetown, and then does the same to San Diego State in the next round. Fantastic display by those guys.
Yeah, that was a really fun team to watch. Back in the tournament this year, thank God, so we'll get to see more of the Dunk City back in action. Sean, what is your favorite memory all time in college basketball? Anything Notre Dame, or are we going a little farther away from that?
Not sticking with Notre Dame, at least for right now. Maybe next week I'll talk about it. I got them going far in my bracket, but what I'm going with is Lehigh in 2012. They took out number 2 seed Duke, and that was incredible to watch. C.J. McCollum, he was able to drop 30. 15 seed beating a 2 seed Harris. It was pretty impressive, extremely good game, and we really saw the potential that C.J. McCollum had back in 2012, and now he's doing it for the Portland Trailblazers, when for a long time people really counted him out as an NBA player. Right now, him and Damian Lillard showing that they're some of the best guards in the league.
Yeah, C.J. McCollum really coming on this year for the Trailblazers, like you said, averaging over 20 points a game. One other memory I think that you guys might have left out there, Steph Curry with Davidson. I'll never forget, they had a game against Wisconsin. He had 40 points, drops 30 in the second half, 8 3-pointers, kind of NBA-esque for Curry. Incredible game for them, taking down number 3 Wisconsin way back then.
And Minnesota still drafts 2 point guards back-to-back ahead of them.
Who were the 2 Syracuse guards they took?
Johnny Flynn and
Flynn.
And then they took Ricky Rubio as well. But
Johnny Flynn.
It went Rubio, then Flynn.
If I had a glass of water, I'd pour one out for Johnny Flynn. I can't remember him. But Johnny, one thing that I want to talk to you about, Duke fan, obviously Damon, he got his Duke moment. If you had to choose all time, what's your all-time favorite Duke moment ever? Put you on the spot.
Before I was born, a lot of Duke history. 3 times before I was born, 2 in the 21st century. I wish I could have been there when Christian Laettner was putting in work, defeating teams like Kentucky with a classic show fake turnaround jumper with less than 3 ticks on the clock. What a savage 7-footer, stomping on people whatever he likes. Why do people hate Christian Laettner still? Because he was just that daggone good.
He was just that good. I'll never forget, I've seen that game against UNLV so many times, taking out Larry Johnson and the rest of the running Rebels. So guys, before we kind of check out here, I want to know, we already have Kansas for you, and we obviously have Kansas for John Newton. Stack, you never gave a chance to give us your bracket. Who's your champion?
My champion is North Carolina.
Okay.
I know you guys didn't get a really long opportunity to talk about them. I like the way that they had played in. I was speaking with Damon. He said the number 1 is really what sticks. They got the number 1 seed in their region in the tournament. They were the preseason number 1. They're number 1 in the ACC. They're a team that has proved that they're elite. Marcus Page, as well as Bryce Johnson. Those are really strong players that you're going to have to watch out for looking forward. You look at what they did to my team, Notre Dame, in the ACC tournament, made me cry. But it really made me positive of who I was going to take as my national champion.
That's okay. Great picks. Kansas, UNC, and to kind of give mine, I'm going with the UVA Cavaliers. I'm saying the most annoying team in the nation. Finally, with that incredible group of seniors and that head coach, I think it's their time. UVA.
But I got to say, the rebounding ability, as he kind of touched upon with Bryce Johnson, Kennedy Meeks, a lot of extra possessions are going to be had by the Tar Heels. And then you got guys like Barry and Page to knock down those jumpers off those second chance opportunities. UVA better look out.
They got to look out. They take on Michigan State at that 2 seed for their 1 seed. But to end our show this week, we take a look back at what was the craziest championship week I think any of us have ever seen. So one of our producers, Noah Light, found the best highlights from around the country and threw them all together into a pretty sick montage. So enjoy our recap of the week. And for all of us here at The Box Score, I'm Harris Rubenstein. Good night.
Buzzer, they poured on its way.